for the Open Women. And we do pick up this race in progress here between the Princeton Tiger 5V and the Penn Quaker 5V.
Yeah, this is really, really fun. So, this is the ultimate sort of test of depth for these coaching staffs and for these programs. And so Princeton and Penn, they've actually had some really good races over the last few years in this 5V event. Two of the deeper sprints programs, and so no surprise to see them in a tight race here, although it is Princeton that is now starting to really motor away.
Yeah, they certainly are, and that's what we saw this morning. If you remember, Joe, Princeton and Penn already raced in the 5th Varsity 8, and they were joined by the Princeton Lightweight Men's 4V. In that one, it was the Princeton Tigers in a time of 6:33 over their lightweight counterparts, 6:39. They both were able to defeat Penn 6:53 in the morning.
So something I'm keeping my eye on, 4-seat here in this boat for the Penn 5V. He is former Penn football player Patty Hawkins, who learned to row here at Penn. He is a Penn football player who is picked up rowing here at Pennsylvania and is doing a really nice, tidy and job there in the 4-seat. That looks really impressive there. Obviously, great job by their coaching staff to get him race ready. And, just that takes a ton of work and effort to do that. And so really, really impressive from Patty Hawkins.
Yeah, that's incredible. You love to see athletes pick up the sport in college. Obviously, a lot of successful walk-ons who've gone on to be Olympians through the year. So love to see that. Joe, in your experience as a former coach at Princeton, were you guys taking a lot of guys from the football team? Was that typical?
That's not typical, right? Usually the guys who go to play football stay playing football. I don't know the whole story around this, but I do know I think it's just really cool and impressive, that they've been able to take him onto the team and that he was game for the challenge, right? There's a lot of people who wouldn't take on something that challenging and adventurous and entrepreneurial, if you will, in the midst of sort of their college career, especially when it was certainly never in the plans, I'm sure, for him. But, look, that's one story I look forward to following more as we get deeper into the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a different sport, but obviously some of the skills are transferable. The big one being just hard work and the ability to kind of put in just a grind day in and day out, and clearly he's been able to do that. And look, he's racing with that Penn uni on his back, so you got to be proud of that.
Yep, but right now it's the Tigers who are dictating terms to Patty and friends. They've got open water now over the 5V from the Schuylkill, and it is the men of Carnegie that are continuing to swing through as we get to the halfway point in this race.
Now, Joe, as a former coach at Princeton, when you get down to the 5V category, I mean, is that a lot of walk-ons? Do you tend to see a lot of recruited athletes in that boat?
It's a mix, and I do think it sort of depends on the year. It depends on, how many guys did we take, what decisions as a staff did we make in terms of the numbers versus, who was going to come into that recruiting class, how that worked on that any given year. So, look, it's a bit of a mix. It's really hard to do. I mean, to start something new in college at this level when you're bringing over people who, I mean, literally, we're talking about Olympians today, right?
Yeah.
From these programs. We're talking about guys who raced at the under-23 World Championships to represent their country. And then I just think it takes a lot of guts to come on and try your hand at something like this, knowing how far behind the 8 ball you are. So, look, usually it's a mix of really high upside athletic guys who have found this at Princeton and then guys who are brought here to ply the oar.
That's what's great about this category. You see all sorts of skill sets, all sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of experience levels come together. And when it starts to pick up and it starts to move together, there's nothing more gratifying in there.
Absolutely not, and it is the coxswain Luke Grippo who is driving that thing. Luke is known as a bit of a media savant on that team, does a really nice job. He's a utility player beyond just the coxswain seat. So, Luke, keep doing your thing, man. This is impressive.
South Jersey guy, St. Augustine, the pride of St. Augustine down there in South Jersey, the Hermit. So, yeah, I love to see him out there grinding away with his boys.
And this is a really impressive showing from these guys. Liam Foldy in the 7th seat, one of those recruits here in this boat who came over from Australia. He's doing a really, really nice job in there. And, then I look back at one of the athletes I really like, this guy Carson Reppins in the 2 seat, like watching him row. He's a guy who found the sport here and has just been a really nice contributor to boat speed. And then he's got his man, Owen Ruliak, the senior from Seattle, who's taken a lot of strokes and a lot of good ones there in the bow of the 5. So this is a very impressive, I mean, just look at the fluidity of this crew. This is a very impressive 5V. Whether you learn to row here or somewhere else, you certainly had to get better at Princeton to do what these guys are capable of doing right now, which is just be really clean and powerful and power away from a strong Penn crew.
They're rowing so well together with 250 meters left in this one. A nice close-up shot from the Ford family hot air balloon piloted by Tom Hebank. These guys really starting to get them in. They based it right around a 33.5. Nice and low, but just really strong, really powerful, especially for a 5V. So coming into the final 20 strokes, barring catastrophe, it'll likely be the Tigers here. They look really composed and really good as they continue to push away the Quakers.
Yep, and as you know, we did have another pride of St. Augustine sitting next to us, Tommy Lindemann, who is your voice of the Tigers on color here most weeks. And Tommy is one of the true pride and joys of both of these programs in St. Augustine and Princeton, as is Luke Grippo. So just cool to see that connection.
And we are through the line. It was the Tigers coming away with 2 W's on the day. Penn into their final 5 or 6 strokes here, really building for the line, going for the best time possible. Good effort, good result from the Quakers as they are through the